friends, it's Walter Zemrock here with another 4 cards using Love from Lizzie's January kit, Let's Celebrate. There's something here for everyone. Let's get started. Our first card is going to feature the candles that I cut out from the various metallic cardstocks in the kit using the candle die that was part of the celebration kit. And in a way, it's kind of clean and simple, but it's full of color and is really fun. So we're going to start with an A2 card base of the lilac cardstock that was in the kit. And I normally score, but since I'm doing this on the fly, I'm just going to fold it, get my bone folder, and just go ahead and take care of that. We're also going to be using this really pretty striped paper that came in the kit, and I'm going to cut that down to a card panel that will go on there. And then we're also going to use a piece of white cardstock that I'm going to cut down that will fit inside of that particular striped paper. So I'm going to cut those, and I will be right back to go over those dimensions. Okay, so I have the A2 card base. I cut our striped pastel paper down to be a 1/2 inch light smaller on each side, so that this is 3.75 in height and 5 inches in width. And then the white cardstock, I did another 1/2 inch off each side from that striped piece, so that would make this 3.25 by 4.5, and they're going to end up being stacked and centered within each other like that, which I'm going to do now with some double-sided tape. Okay, so I have my paper taped down onto my card base, and now I'm determining where I want to place the sentiment, which is coming from the stamp set in the kit, and that is wishing you the happiest of birthdays. What I want to do is have the candles be sandwiched between the top part of the sentiment and the bottom. So I want to go ahead and make sure that there's going to be enough space for the candles while deciding where to stamp these two parts of the sentiment. And that is looking pretty good. That looks to give me enough room for the candles coming across without, interfering with where that is. So I am going to leave it there to go ahead and get that stamped. I'm pretty happy with that placement. That looks to be pretty centered, so I'm going to go ahead and stamp that. So I stamped the sentiment, and I used the Simon Hurley Prom Queen for happiest of birthdays, and Simon Hurley Crown Me for the wishing you the part of the sentiment. That looks great. I'm really happy with that. And it's now time to go ahead and start putting our candles on there. And so I'm really, even though this isn't the traditional rainbow, I'm going to do it as if it's like in order of the rainbow colors, because while not everything is represented, most are. The only thing that isn't is yellow, and I'm kind of substituting in a light pink for that. That has kind of an orangey tone to it. So, and then here's like our red. So I'm going to go ahead and get my glue onto the candle. And I'm going to start by, I want to make sure that there's going to be a nice amount of space to fit all 6 in. And I want them anchored off of the beginning of the bottom part of the sentiment. That looks good right there. And the back end of the sentiment. And then the others we can just space out going in between. This is just a really fun design. I actually think this is a great card for a teenage girl. I think that this would be absolutely perfect because, you know, at that age, they're not so much into the cute, you know, kind of cards with characters. And this is kind of a nice step into a more adult, you know, styled kind of card for them. So I think this is great. Now, what I want to do is just determine my spacing because I don't want to all of a sudden find myself having too much or not enough. And this is looking pretty good. So I can work with that. That's easy. I just have to push them down this way a little bit more. But let's start with getting the rest of the candles on. One other thing I want to do is within the kit, there was also these little rhinestones. And I want to put a rhinestone above each of the candles. I'm just going to get my glue put away first so that that doesn't clog and dry on me. So I want to put one, so there's a couple of ways we could do this. I could do one above each of the candles, which was what I was originally thinking. But now what I think instead is I'm going to put them in between, going across. And that one just flew away from me. Oh, here it is. I like when it lands at a place where you can easily find it. So then I all of a sudden don't find it on my dog's paw. Which has happened. And so just trying to keep them about the same height. Those look good. And then this way, I like to do my, like my rhinestones in odd numbers. Any kind of gem like that, I like to do them in an odd number. So 5 in between each of the candles works out really well. But there is one last thing I'd like to do, and that is I want to incorporate some of the peel-off border stickers just for an extra little splash of color. I think that will be a lot of fun, and I think that that metallic purple will work really well. So I'm going to get these open. Get those out. And I'm going to do, so there's a variety. What's beautiful about these particular items is that there's a variety of widths, which is great. So I want to do a thicker one around the outside and then a thinner one around the inside. And I think that's just a nice little detail that's really kind of cool. So I'm going to take a strip off and I'm going to start on a side and I'm going to go in between. And when I say in between, I want it to be centered in between the purple here, as well as like this way as well. So, and I'm going to make sure that the end is about halfway up here so that when I connect and go across, it's going to form like that rectangle. So, and again, I'm just eyeballing. It doesn't have to be absolutely perfect. Grab my scissors. Oh, that's stuck down to my glass mat. Let's get that fixed, get that repositioned. There we go. Stick that down. And I'm going to cut that right about there. That one's in place. I'm going to come over because I think I can get each of the smaller sides off of one strip, which is nice. It might even be, it's almost one exact, which is great. that worked out well. Just gonna get that laid down there, and there is just a hair that I'm gonna take off of that. Literally just a hair. Actually, yeah, I do want to take that little bit, but you don't have to if you didn't want to. Just want to slip my scissors there. There we go. Perfect. And this is just going to add that really fun, sparkly detail to it. Because as I had mentioned at the beginning, it is kind of a clean and simple design in that there's not a lot of stamping. There is a lot of color, but there is white space, and putting them on the inside especially is going to help break up that white space. So now I'm just going to have this one meet the one over here to come across. That looks good. Oh, didn't want to stay put. Let's try that again. There we go. Hold that down with my thumb. Come across, press that down. That's not going to be enough remaining to go to the top one, but I'm not going to discard it. Instead, I'm going to hold on to it. I hold on to these scraps because it will probably be useful in another project. There we go. That looks great. So, you know, it's a little bit of precision, you know, making sure that these are getting into place, but it's not difficult. This is card making. It's not solving for world peace. Although a pretty card could. You never know. Wonder if we should try that. I think we card makers have a special power sometimes, and that is you make something nice and it can really help change a situation. That could also just be the old softy in me talking. All right. Oh, let me get that. And I'm just going to cut it. There we go. So we have the thicker outer one. I mean, we could do another one here and then another one there. But since I showed you how to do that one, I'm going to decide, definitely going to do one here. I'll decide if I'm going to do one there, and I'll be back to show you the finished card. Okay, so I did go ahead and do the 3 concentric rectangles with that purple border stickers, and I think it looks fantastic. I'm really happy with how it turned out. It's a really fun design. So there we have it. That is our first card for this video. Okay, the second card is a lot of fun. I'm using an A2 sized pink card base. The pink cardstock was in the kit. I then cut down the balloon paper that was in the kit, and I did it. My particular paper trimmer, you can exchange out the blade cartridges. And so I have one with a decal edge, and I think that's just a fun way to add a little bit of a fun design element in. And you can see it a lot easier once you have it on the pink, and you can see the jagged edge there. I just think it's fun. So that's going to be our background, our card panel. Now, I went ahead and made this in advance, but there's really not a lot to show you into how to make this. It's really easy. This cupcake is so cute. So here's what I did. I used the base cupcake die, cut it out of the purple metallic cardstock, then went ahead and pasted it onto yellow, the light yellow cardstock that came in the kit, and then I fussy cut it out. I then used the top, the icing part of the cupcake, the die for that, and cut it out of the fun foam. So, and then once I had that cut out of the fun foam, I put some glue on the fun foam, and I then sprinkled on the shaker mix. It looks like, it almost looks like a little bit of sugar or coconut on the top of the cupcake. And then with those little silver balls in there as well, it looks like those little edible silver decorations that you can put onto cakes and cupcakes. So really easy. I then just glued that onto the cupcake wrapper base. I cut a cherry out of the fuchsia cardstock and a candle out of gold. Glued those on, and we have a really fun cupcake that is multi-dimensional. It's not just flat, and it has a lot of texture on it. I love it. I think it's a lot of fun. Really easy to make. In addition to that, we're also going to use a couple of pieces of ephemera from the kit. I'm going to use this box of packages and this party hat, and those are going to be kind of glue. I'm going to adhere them on at like an angle over the balloons. Then I'm going to use some foam tape, double-sided foam tape, to elevate our cupcake over that. And then I had saved this scrap of the confetti, the smaller confetti paper that I used in a different card. And I'm going to stamp out a sentiment on that, and we'll put that onto the card. So really easy, really fun. Again, I think this would be a great card for a teen. I just think it's colorful, it's fun, and really, you know, it's beyond the cutesy card stage that they start to not want anymore at that age. So I'm going to go ahead and just get some double-sided tape on here. To get this adhered down to my card base. Put that up there for now. And I'm just going to center that on my base. Again, doesn't have to be perfect. Approximate is good. There we go. This is another one. I mean, honestly, the thing that takes the longest amount of time is making the cupcake, and even that isn't. It's pretty easy. It's quick. So we have that. Now we're going to adhere down our pieces of ephemera. I'm going to use some glue for that and just get that onto the back here. And like I said, I want to kind of do them at an angle. So I'll have the packages at an angle. And I'll have the party. Oh, I gotta get this unclogged. It seems to be clogging a lot on me lately. There we go. Get our party hat. Get the glue on that. And I want to just approximate the space on each side, because I want to make sure that the cupcake is kind of in the middle. And I think that looks good. So we'll put that down. I'm going to cover my glue back up, because now I'm going to use some double-sided foam tape. Cut a piece off of my roll. want to see. I'm going to go up to about there in the center. And then I'm just going to cut that piece in half. Flipped over on me. I'm just going to unroll that if I can. Oh, that's okay. Just take that off because I'm just going to put some there. And I may actually cut that in half again. Yeah, I'm glad I did because that's going to be pretty close to the edge. So I'm just going to, actually you won't even be able to see that. Great. Okay, so take the back off of that piece and off of this piece. And let's get our cupcake down there, right in between those two. Perfect. Another thing I did to the cupcake is I think it looks kind of cool to have those, like the pieces of the bow flipped up. And then I did adhere a crystal down into the center. So that part is done. The last thing we have to do is just stamp our sentiment. And for that, I just want a small strip. I am going to use Let's Celebrate. I'm going to stamp it onto this scrap of paper. But I am going to do something else to make it fun. So I'm going to put it over here to get it stamped. That looks pretty good lined up. Let me move my card out of the way. That looks like a pretty good alignment. I think what I'm going to do is I am going to stamp that in purple. So I am going to use the Simon Hurley Crown Me ink. Get that onto our stamp. And if I don't think it's dark enough against that paper, I can always switch over and restamp it in black. Beauty of using a stamping platform. But I think the purple's going to be fine. Get that on there. I'm going to do it just one more time. I do like it. I think it looks good. It's legible. But I want it just a little darker. Get that on there. There we go. Now we're talking. I like that. So I'm going to take that off, and I'm going to put my platform to the side and cover up my ink. I thought it would be fun to incorporate some more color into the sentiment strip, so I'm going to use the pink peel-off stickers that came in the kit. Get those out of the bag. There we go. And I'm going to put them on before I cut my sentiment, just so that I know what I'm working with for size. Grab my tweezers, and again, these are in different sizes. I'm gonna go with the large one, and I just want to box that sentiment in with this to help it stand out. Oh, I almost had it. There we go. So I'm going to start with going around the top. I don't want it too thick, but I don't want it too thin either, and I want to have enough spill. It moved on me. I'll try that again. This time I'm going to put my finger there to hold it. There we go. There. And I am going to cut that right about there. There we go. And just looking at it, that approximately looks good for space on either side. So now I'm going to come in on the bottom, line it up with where that is at the side over here. Just a little bit of space between the strip and the words, although I think I'm going to close it up just a little more. There we go. That looks good. Want to make sure that it's straight. There we go. That looks good. Let's cut that side. Now, this is the easy part. Just need to meet up those two ends. I have really good friends with daughters, and so I'll tell you, this is helping me get a jump on making their birthday cards. Perfect. I'm going to save that piece. Waste not, want not, right? Put that down there. Now I can just decide on trimming it up. I don't, as I said earlier, I don't want it too thick, so I'm going to go right about there. And I'm going to replicate that over on this side. That looks good. I'm going to start down here because the top is actually approximately a good width for that. Now, if you want to be more precise, by all means, use a paper trimmer. But that is pretty darn good. I'm happy with that, and I really like the way it looks. And what I'm going to do is adhere that down up here centered so that we have our I feel like I want to trim that just a bit. Looked like it needed to be evened out a little bit. I think that did the trick for me. Yeah. So I'm going to put that there. So let's get some glue on that. And I'm just going to approximately center that. in the middle of the card. That looks pretty equidistant. That kind of sets off the balloons nicely too, because often with balloons you have confetti. And then to finish that off, I'm going to cover up my glue. I'm going to dip into the gems that came in the kit. And we're going to put a few gems on there. And I'm going to adhere these gems onto the sentiment strip. So I'm going to do one at the top, kind of in the center. That looks good. One on this side, about in the center. And one on this side, about in the center. Look at that. That cupcake is just, I mean, seriously. I'm going to raise it. Hopefully it's focusing in enough for you. That frosting looks amazing. It just adds such dimension and texture to the card. It's just a lot of fun. So, card number 2, done. Our third card is a celebration, but it's a celebration of love. I had a bunch of scrap pieces of the foil cardstock over to the side from my previous projects, and I don't like to waste, especially nice cardstock like that. And so I thought, what is the best way to use up those scraps? And so I remembered that within the January kit was a flower die and a leaf die. And so I decided to cut out a bunch of flowers. I have some aqua, some yellow or gold, some pink, some fuchsia, some like rose gold, slight orange tinge, and then some leaves. Then as I was looking through the ephemera, what really sealed the deal for me was this circle of balloons, which to me, the first thing I saw was the letter O. And so I thought to myself, wouldn't it be fun to create a card that spells out the word love using the ephemera and these leaves and flowers, while also bringing in a stamp, and it can be a celebration of love. So I created an A2 card base with the pink cardstock. I then took a piece of white, and I wanted just a little bit of that pink showing through around. So I cut the, I took an eighth off of each side of the cardstock and centered that panel onto the card base. Now what I'm going to do is lay out and create the word love. What's easy is the O is already done with the balloons. I'll do the L with the flowers. I'm going to do a V with the leaves, and then an E with the leaves and the flowers. I'm going to have a spot for a sentiment stamp. And this is from the Party Time stamp set. It has a lot of New Year's sayings, but it also has a lot of more general sayings that can be used. And so I'm going to use one that says, follow your heart. And if I can find the space, I'm going to do something with one of the wooden hearts from the kit as well. So how I'm going to arrange them is using some little foam squares, double-sided foam tape squares, to elevate them up off of the card base. So I'm going to go ahead, and again, it's a pretty simple, just a letter L about the same size as the balloons, then we'll do a V, then we'll do an E. All adhered down with these double-sided foam tape squares. I'm going to show you how to do one, and then I'm going to continue on and do the others. So for the O, I'm simply going to take, it's already done, I'm just going to take some of these foam tape squares, and I'm going to put them onto the back of my O. And I think that I can do more than 4, but I think 4 will do the trick. I don't think I need to worry about, like, that not being supportive enough. And as you can see, that's going to give it a nice little bit of lift off of the card base. To be on the safe side, I may actually put just a couple more on there, I think. I am open to changing my mind as I do things. Because what I don't want is for it to maybe get partially crushed or something, especially if it's going in the mail. So let's go ahead and get those on. And that's fine. I'd rather be on the safe side. There. So we have our O. I'm just simply going to peel off the backing and stick that down. Let's create the L. And the L I'm going to do with flowers. And all of these colors coordinate with the colors in the balloon, circle, which is nice. Again, that is going to have that double-sided foam tape on the back, but I want to lay it out just to show you. So I'm going to do, of course, they might pop and move around on us too, but that's okay. They're not glued down yet, so they're allowed to do that. 3, 4, actually I think I just need to move that over a bit, and we can have 5 for the L, 1 of each flower, and then there's the O. For the V, I wanted to use the leaves. They're nice and thin, so I think it's probably going to be like 3 and 3, or 2, 1 in the middle. And I think I want to do that one like this, and then 2 more. There's our V. I might open it up and spread it a bit more. I wanted to leave room for the E. And for the E, I'm going to do a combination of the leaves and the flowers. So let's see how many I need to do there. We'll do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And to finish it off, I'm going to put a leaf in there, because I also want to make sure that there is room for our sentiment. Sentiment doesn't have to be on the outside, simply because you have the word love there. So what I may do is stamp the sentiment on the inside, and that sentiment's going to be follow your heart. Looking at this, I think it's really pretty. I love this design. I don't think there's going to be room for the wooden heart, so I don't want to push it. I'd much rather focus on these elements that I have here. So I'm going to go ahead and get these adhered down. Be right back. Okay, what do you think? I absolutely love it. Spells out the word love. There is an additional detail I want to do on this, but I also then stamped in follow your heart as the sentiment. There's a cute little heart at the bottom of that. I'm going to grab a gel pen. I grabbed metallic. I actually wanted glitter, so I'm going to grab my glitter one rather than metallic. Here we go. So I'm going to take a glitter red gel pen and just color in that heart on the inside. A nice little detail that just adds another little touch to the card. I love that. Now, on the front, I want to take some of the gems that came in the kit, and I want to put one in the middle of each flower. Not going to worry about the leaves, just the flowers. Not the balloons either. Just as the center of the flower, almost like that's the stamen of the flower. And it adds just another little bit of sparkle to it. As I was putting the letters or the flowers and everything on, I started to think about whether or not I could fit the heart in somewhere, because I really do like those hearts, but I didn't want it to overpower the simple design of the card. I was going for something simple here on purpose, because sometimes a simple design can just say it all. And I feel that this is one of those times. This truly is a celebration of love. It spells it out, but I mean, who doesn't love flowers and balloons, bright colors? It's just so cute. So if I was to incorporate the heart, I was thinking I'd put it there, you know, color it or something, but I am going to go with my intuition and leave it off. And this card is done. LOVE, follow your heart. Simple, pretty, shimmery, shiny. I love it. I hope you do too. Our final card is also a very simple, easy one, but I think very effective. And I was inspired. I love to make cards that are kind of monochrome with just a pop of color. And so I was looking at the stamp set from the January kit, and I hadn't used the balloons yet. And I thought I'd love to do something with pops of color with balloons. Looking through the ephemera, I found a nice bunch of balloons, and that's where the idea for this card came from. I have an A2 white card base. I then cut a black card panel to 4 by 5 1/4. I then cut a white card panel to 3.75 inches by 5. And I stamped in black ink some bunches of balloons. I took a sentiment from this stamp set that says, "A friend will always make you smile." Most of the card is done. How quick, easy, and simple is this? I'm going to adhere that down, and then with some double-sided foam tape, I am going to go ahead and put that on top. Simple, easy, but really pretty. Very clean, very pretty. So I am going to do that, and knowing me, I'm going to end up throwing a few gems on there as well. So, you know, and for the stamping, I wanted one full set, and then I thought it would be cool to have some coming up this way and some coming down that way. So I just stamped them like that. That is where kits like this are so effective in card making, because when you get ephemera like this, that can, you know, you don't have to worry about stamping, coloring, fussy cutting, or if there's a die cutting, you know, die cutting it out. So much of the work is done for you. And if you can think of a design, again, this isn't one that I would give to a kid. This is meant more for an adult, and that's fine. Not every card is meant for a kid. So I'm just going to get that centered on there. That looks good. That looks straight. Perfect. I mean, honestly, I think even without the ephemera, that in and of itself is a fun card. I like it like that. But when you put on that ephemera with the pop of color, it just adds so much. So I'm just going to grab those squares again. And the reason why I wanted to use the squares is to be able to get some foam down on those balloon strings. And then I'm just gonna put one over there. I'm gonna put one kind of angled there to support that. Put one across the top. And some more going this way. And I think that'll be enough support for that. We're just gonna peel those backs off. I like these foam squares because this is actually a little bit higher than standard double-sided foam tape. So these here, when you have a simple design, or when I have a simple design, one way that I can try to jazz it up a bit is by making sure that there is, you know, the creation of depth, and this helps with doing that. And you know, just by using it, there's nothing you have to do. So you could place it in the center. I actually want to angle it a bit, and I'm going to have it kind of offsetting right there towards the center. And I will throw some gems on there. I'm going to end up using 3, and you can just randomly place them wherever you'd like, or if you want to do an order to them, you can go ahead and do that. I just like to randomly, you know, kind of place one here, place one there. Done. That's, I mean, it doesn't get any easier than that. You know, thinking about other ideas, if you didn't want to leave the balloons white, you could color them in shades of gray. That would look really nice, and that would, you know, help not make the design so simple. But I'm okay with a really simple design. I think it's effective. And especially, I think it goes really well with this sentiment, a friend will always make you smile. Because if you associate like a smile with color, and when does a friend, you know, usually make you smile? Maybe when you're not feeling your best, when you're feeling a little down. So I think that's a great visual representation of that. So I really like it. How quick, easy, and simple is that 4th card? So that wraps it up. I'm going to just show you once again each of the cards that we made in this video. Our last one, right there. The one we just did with the word love spelled out. Follow your heart. We then had our really fun cupcake, let's celebrate. I mean, that's just a lot of fun. There's a whole lot of celebrating going on in that card. And last but not least, wishing you the happiest of birthdays with our candles and those wonderful concentric rectangle, metallic rectangles we have made with those sticker strips. So many possibilities with this kit. I hope as you watched me go through this that you also thought of some for yourself. Make sure you go out. These kits sell out really quickly. If you're interested, I would definitely go to the Love from Lizi website and order it now. And I would love to see what you end up making. If you're on Instagram and you want to follow me, Zimstones by Walter. There are periods in between the Zimstones and the between by and Walter. Tag me, because I would love to see what you end up making. On Facebook, Walter Zimrock, Zemrock. By all means, please friend me. I'd love to follow and see what you make, and have you see what I post. You know, we're all in this really creative, fun ride together. So I would love to support you as well. Thanks so much, and I look forward to seeing you again soon. Take care.